Who bit Beyonce? It's a question that had social media abuzz thanks to comedian Tiffany Haddish's story about an unnamed actress sinking her teeth into the Queen's face. But the anonymous biter isn't the only celebrity to have an awkward encounter with Bey. Get ready to feel completely uncomfortable.
Beyonce just walks right up to me. She goes, "Hi, I'm Beyonce." I was like, "I know who you are, girl. You are so talented." She was like, "You're so funny," and then, like, we're going back and forth and everything.
We'll start with the awkward celeb encounter that rocked the world, so to speak. Comedian Tiffany Haddish's crazy story about the mystery actress who allegedly bit Bey's face. According to The Telegraph's exhaustive timeline of each time Haddish spilled more tea about the incident, it went down like this. At the 2017 party Beyoncé threw to celebrate the end of Jay-Z's 444 tour, Haddish observed an actress, quote, touching Jay-Z's chest.
I was talking to Jay-Z, right? And there was another actress that was there who was also talking to Jay-Z. And she touched Jay-Z's chest, and Beyonce came walking up like...
The rogue touch allegedly evoked a fierce response from Beyoncé, who later informed Haddish that the chest toucher also bit her face. Haddish threatened to defend her queen's honor by, quote, beating the biter's ass, but Bey insisted that she just have fun instead, because she knows the biter and dismissed her behavior on account of her being on drugs. After Haddish finally dished the full details of Bitegate, the internet immediately spun into private detective mode, which resulted in two possible chomping culprits, Sanaa Lathan and Sarah Foster, who have both denied their teeth ever came anywhere near Beyoncé's flawless face. Haddish herself even came under scrutiny from the rest of the Beehive, who weren't happy with the details of their infamously private queen's life being splashed all over the place. Haddish clapped back at haters via Instagram, writing, "Y'all forgot I'm in the hive too, and just know this, I will always speak my truth." While Haddish's Beyoncé encounter is undoubtedly wild, we are dying to hear the biter's side of the story. Even UFC stars turn into puddles of fangirl goo around Beyoncé. And that's exactly what happened when Holly Holm, the mixed martial artist, perhaps best known for knocking out Ronda Rousey in a title fight, went to a VIP party hosted by Bey and Jay. Holm told a local Albuquerque news station that she stuck her foot directly in her mouth when she was introduced to the superstar couple, remembering,
I meet Jay-Z and he says, "This is my wife," and I'm like, "Oh, hi, what's your name?" Because that's what I do when I meet someone's wife.
Yikes, Holm instantly regretted the slip.
And as I'm shaking her hand, I'm thinking, why did I just say that?
Almost immediately, Holm apologized to the Queen.
She goes, "Oh, no, it's fine." I'm like, no, like, I really, it's like such an honor to meet you.
You'd think even Beyoncé would be slightly awed by meeting Magic Mike in the flesh, but that simply wasn't the case when the singer first laid eyes on Channing Tatum. But there's a pretty good reason for that. He was in drag as her at the time. It was all for his lip-sync battle performance during which he performed Run the World Girls. Beyoncé surprised everyone by showing up at the end of Tatum's performance, which, unfortunately for him, was the first time they ever met. Tatum later told Ellen,
like, all of a sudden you're just like, it happened, wait, that was her, right? And then you always know that she's somewhere in the world that can reach out and touch you. And ultimately, I end up having to meet Beyonce doing Beyonce, and that was definitely the most terrifying thing I've ever done.
Making the encounter even more awkward for Tatum was the fact that Beyoncé didn't stick around backstage so he could meet her while not looking like a nightmare version of her.
That was it. Like, I said hi, she goes, "Hey, that was really funny, see ya." But she did text afterwards and she was like, "Hey, I would love to like meet you guys and hang out when you're not looking like me." And so terrifying.
Actress and singer Anna Kendrick relayed her awkward Beyoncé encounter on Conan. She recalled her trip to the 2014 Grammys when she and her friend detoured their path to make sure they walked past the single ladies singer. The low-grade stalker tactic paid off when Beyoncé waved her over.
And she stood up, she was so nice, and she points to Jay-Z and was like, "Oh, we just watched you on the Kennedy Center honors. You were so great, you were so cute in your little red dress."
Kendrick was excited Bey's comment was true, saying,
"She said that I had a little red dress, which means that she actually watched it, or it means that I was having a stroke and I imagined the entire thing."
Kendrick marked the meeting with an Instagram photo, captioning it, "Fangirl of the Year," and joked to Conan.
It is a little crazy. So I feel like we're either going to be best friends or she has a restraining order. It's like...
Supermodel Chrissy Teigen has interacted with Beyoncé a number of times, thanks in part to the fact that she's married to fellow musician John Legend and the fact that she's incredibly famous in her own right. But none of that means she's immune to the paralyzing power of Beyoncé's presence. In fact, Teigen has told of at least two awkward encounters with the singer. First, she told Cosmo of an epic fail the time she tried to be casual around Bey at a party by asking her, "What were you up to today?" So what's wrong with that? Teigen had already run into Beyoncé earlier that day at a luncheon. Palm, meet face. Another time Teigen goofed it up with Bey was at the 2018 Grammys when, for a reason unknown to anyone, she took both of Beyoncé's hands, got on her knees, and said,
"Sorry to bother you, my queen." Like, who says that?
Not only was her husband, who was cool as a cucumber, chatting up Jay-Z, perplexed by her behavior, Teigen herself admitted the moment was so weird.
There's nobody like seeing Beyonce in person. It's just so incredible, the aura that comes around her. I mean, she just emits this aura that's spectacular. And
even though singer and actress Zendaya was fortunate enough to land a role in Beyoncé's groundbreaking visual album Lemonade, she still had a classic fangirl moment when she met the Queen for the first time. The actress told 17 about the experience, confessing, "I've never acted like such an idiot in my life." Zendaya said she was floored when Beyoncé came into her dressing room and thanked her for being part of the project, at which point Zendaya apparently lost it. She elaborated on the faulty first impression, telling Extra,
"I basically passed out. I couldn't even make eye contact. I was being so weird. It's like if she looked at me, I had to look away. And then when she looked away, I stared at her."
Afterwards, Zendaya said she told her hairstylist, quote, "Please tell Beyoncé that I'm not weird, because that always works, right?" Comedian Kevin Hart is a personal friend of Beyoncé and Jay-Z, but like Chrissy Teigen, even repeated exposure to hip-hop's first couple hasn't stopped him from having awkward encounters with them. For starters, Hart was caught on camera in the front row of a Beyoncé show back in 2013, and to say that he lost his mind fanboying out would be an understatement. Describing his experience on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Hart said that even though he knows Beyoncé personally, he didn't understand the impact she had until he saw her perform.
There's one point where she hooks herself up and she like flies to this other section, and I'm standing there and I was like, oh my God, it's like Tinkerbell.
So okay, maybe that's questionable behavior for a grown man, but it's not exactly mortifying. Which brings us to the second incident. Hart told Jimmy Fallon about the time he spilled a giant bottle of pineapple juice all over Jay-Z's pants in the VIP section of a nightclub.
Jay-Z was sitting right here. It was just pouring on his lap. Neither one of us thought to pick it up and stop it. Yeah. He's looking at me, and I'm looking at the pineapple juice like.
But the pineapple juice got on Beyoncé too.
I don't know where Beyonce popped out from, but somehow her feet popped out from like underneath him. She was like, Jay, what's all this on my feet?
Making matters infinitely worse, Hart said that he then slipped Jay a $20 bill as if that would pay for even a button on their clothes.
I had a $20 bill balled up in my hand, right? I shook his hand, I said, hey, don't look at that until I get back to my section, okay?
Like Kevin Hart, Hannibal Buress also embarrassed himself in a club, Jay-Z's 40/40 Club to be exact, when he tried to snap a photo of his own friends, Chance the Rapper and Vic Mensa, with Jay and Bey. Buress said on The Breakfast Club that Jay called him out, saying,
Jay-Z was like, hey man, be cool.
In his defense, Buress also said that it was odd that the rapper tried to shut down his impromptu photo session because there were other people also taking photos, none of whom Jay tried to stop. Per Storyville, Hannibal claimed he wanted to tell Jay, "This is a great picture. It's two friends of mine. They're hanging out with you. One of the biggest rappers in the world and your wife, one of the biggest stars in the world. I'm not gonna be cool." But Buress didn't say that. He did, however, snap the photo anyway, which he said ended up really capturing the moment.
It's Beyonce's angrily pointing at me in the picture.
Our honest opinion? Worth it. Orange is the New Black star and card-carrying Beehive member, Laverne Cox, also chose to channel Beyoncé for her lip-sync battle appearance. Cox tore down the house with her version of Destiny's Child's Lose My Breath, but unlike Channing Tatum, she did not have to face her idol immediately after. Cox lost an opportunity to meet Beyoncé when she had to turn down a role in Lemonade due to a scheduling conflict with her role in the Rocky Horror Picture Show reboot, according to BET. Fortunately, the actress finally got to meet Bey at the 2017 Grammys, which she immortalized on Instagram with the caption, "This finally happened. I was so beside myself with joy, wonderment, and awe of the majesty that is the Queen, I forgot to hold in my stomach and give you face, but I met Queen Bey, y'all."
She's like, "Oh my God, it's so good to meet you." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "It's so good to meet you. I love you. I've loved you since Destiny's Child." She's like, "I know."
If you're thinking that wasn't really that awkward at all, you're right. But not everyone goes around tossing fruit juice all over pop music royalty, now do they? Another awkwardish celebrity encounter with Jay and Bey was the time singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran took them out for pizza after a show in Brooklyn. The ginger crooner recounted his magical night during an interview with Jimmy Fallon, saying,
"I grew up listening to them, and then suddenly I was just like sitting across eating a slice of pizza, like, all right."
He also said he took them to a dive bar owned by one of his mates.
And we turned up and there was a folk jam going on, and we jammed some folk.
Just picture that scene in your head for a moment. Sheeran made sure to add,
"They're the coolest people. Like, just like
are,
completely, right? you wouldn't they're just open. I'm just open to whatever.
We're ending on what was the most brief, awkward celeb encounter with Beyoncé, literally just a moment of eye contact. Speaking with Ryan Seacrest at the 2017 Grammys, Paris Jackson recalled locking eyes with Queen Bey at the same award show 7 years earlier when she accepted the Lifetime Achievement Award for her late father, Michael Jackson.
I was really nervous and I made eye contact with Beyoncé, who was like in the first row, and I like almost peed myself. I was so excited, and then I like couldn't think of what to say.
On the bright side, at least in her story, she still made it off stage without peeing her pants. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.